Hey guys, Dennis back with a brand new video. So today we're going to talk about replacing the rollers in your Kenmore dryer. So this particular dryer we're going to be working on is gas. It's not electric. Well, it's electric in a sense that the timer and start and stop functions and stuff like that are electric, but it doesn't produce its heat from the large 240 volt plug like most dryers do. Now, there's really no way to tell a difference just from a glance without looking behind and noticing that there is a gas line going to it, and we have a much smaller cord than most dryers. I'm going to show you why we're going to be working on this dryer. Notice how loud that is? That's a very good indication that the guide rollers that the drum rides on are bad. Another one would be me being able to open this dryer up and just kind of moving this whole drum around like nothing. Basically, all you need is a putty knife. You need a Phillips screwdriver and a 5/16 nut driver. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm just going to be using this Bosch Impact. Very first step, right, unplug your dryer. You don't want to get shocked in there touching any wiring or, you know, whether it's accidental or not. Next step is to remove your lint screen. So you'll notice after you remove your lint screen, there are two Phillips screws. So what you want to do is remove both of these screws. Be very careful you don't drop them down into your lint compartment. It may be hard to retrieve. All right, so we're gonna take both of those off. Super simple, we'll move this out of the way. All right, so your next step is to take your putty knife. Now, if you push the putty knife in, you know it goes in, notice it goes in all the way right here. If you go about 1 inch from the end here, it stops, and you'll feel it kind of spring back at you. All you gotta do is press in. Bam, there's your front, this side of the front cover. Now, we're gonna leave that like that. We're gonna go to the other side, do the same thing. And that's all there is to it. So all I'm gonna do, since I can't tilt it up all the way, is I'm gonna move the dryer forward a little bit here. And that'll give me enough here where I can just lean that back and we're good. All right, so our next step is to remove these two 5/16 screws. So there's one on the left side, it's about 1 inch down on the front side of the dryer when you open it, and there's one here. Also, we have to disconnect the door switch. All right, so there is a little plastic clip on here. You want to make sure you don't bend this back too far because it will snap off, and then you run the risk of this thing coming apart on its own. So basically all I do is I just kind of lift it a little bit and give it a little tug, and that's it. Move those out of the way. 5/16, like I said. And we're using this magnetic attachment on here. This is nice, keeps you from dropping your screws. We got that one, and then we only have this other one on this side here. Now, this particular front door, the drum rides on the outside of it, so you'll notice that the drum kind of falls down. Once you take the two screws off, don't worry about that. So what you want to do is there's two little notches on the front with two little tabs, and the front door kind of snaps into them, so you want to, oops, I think we're caught on the drum. So you want to lift up on one side, lift up on the other side, and then your whole front panel comes off. Now, if you have a shop vac, now would be a great time to clean up any lint or dust or anything like that that may have made its way into the dryer. This dryer was in this house when we bought it, so it's actually really filthy. So I just have this little Husky wet dry vac. This thing's nice. Found some treasure in here. Oh, there's even more inside of the dryer. Hey, they might pay for some of these parts. Now's a really good time that the front is off to inspect your felt gasket. So you want to make sure there's no tears in it and that it's all intact. It seems to be good here from what I can see. So we're just going to set this back to the side. We're going to continue cleaning out the inside of the dryer, and then we'll come back, we'll pull the drum out, show you what the rollers look like. right, so we're gonna remove our drum now. And to get the drum out, we have to release the tension on the belt here. And that is done down here on the bottom. Let's just try to, there we go. Actually, that was probably the best way to do it, was get the belt off of the motor spindle. Now, the drum is free to come out now. All right, so now that the belt is undone, you can actually almost use the belt to help you carry this out. So you'll notice there is almost a little cutout in the front of the dryer on both sides. That's where you want to slide the drum out. It's actually very, very light. And it comes right out very easily. So now's a really good time, just like with the front, to inspect your felt gasket on the back. And surprisingly enough, it's definitely worn, but it's in pretty decent shape. So we're gonna roll this out of the way. And we're gonna take our vacuum once more and we're gonna clean this up. But what I wanna do is show you first what was causing the noise when we were running this dryer earlier. You'll notice, look at the wheels on here. They're absolutely shot. Absolutely shot. There's nothing left to them. Our next step is to remove this heat shield here, but I want to show you the difference between the new rollers and the old roller. Now, I mean, look at this. Shot. This new one is 100% better, obviously. Grab our kit here. So everything came in this little bag here. Here's the new dryer belt. They gave us 2 of these wheels. And they gave us 4 of these little plastic bushings. Now I'll show you what these go to once we start changing the rollers out. And then they give you new shaft retaining washers. And these actually are the ones that clip onto the outside here, but we'll get into that in a minute here. Oh, and for reference, this part number for this kit is 4392065, and that's right on Sears Parts Direct. So let's get into it here. So what you need to do, 5/16, you need to remove this shield here. And this may only apply to the gas dryer because this is a heat shield, I believe, for the roller from the combustion tube here. I think that's what it's called, but you need to be able to get to this roller support here to get this roller out. So it's another 5/16. All right, we're gonna try to put the parts kind of where we took them out. We'll leave them in that area. Now, to get this arm off now, there is this little spring clip here. You can use either a putty knife or a flathead screwdriver. And all you need to do is get behind it a little bit. So we take that off. We take this support arm off. And then this is where those little white clips are. Maybe kind of hard to see because they are a little dirty. But these fit into a groove on that bearing support shaft. So we're gonna toss those. We'll put the new ones in when we change these. And then your roller should, as long as it's not seized or on here, hoping this one comes off. There we go. So, old roller, new roller. There's our problem. And then there should be another one of those white plastic clips in the back. And a bunch of gunk wrapped around here. So now we got all that disgusting stuff cleaned off of there. You want to check the surface of that shaft. If this shaft is scored or damaged in any way, you really want to replace this because otherwise your bearing, your rollers are just gonna fail again soon. You don't want them after all of this work to fail. So next step, these little plastic support bushings here. So these little plastic clips, you want to be very careful you don't break them, but they need to slide onto this shaft. It's very tricky because you'll get 2 sides on and then the 3rd side will pop off. So once you get 2 sides, oh, did we get it? Once you get 2 sides on there, then you can use your putty knife or a very small screwdriver, lift the other side, and then bam. Now we're in our back groove here. We're good. We want to put the new roller on. Now, I don't believe these are directional. Okay, and we're gonna put our front side clip on. Look at that. She's a rolling good. And then we're gonna put our new capture washer on. So we want this to go back in exactly like it came off. Little retaining washer on. Now, the cool thing you can do to get this on all the way is if you're using one of these extensions, this fits right over the shaft. You can just use that to push the washer all the way on. And then we'll slide our support into place. And we'll put back the retaining screw on the bottom here. We'll tighten that on. Okay, so that's the first roller done. Very, very simple. All right, now we're gonna tackle the upper right side. Now, same thing with this one. With the clip on here. And since we have new ones, I'm just gonna destroy this one to get it off. All right, so we're off. This should come right off. Any gunk that's on here, we need to obviously clean. We got this all cleaned up. We're gonna put the new plastic clip on here. If anybody has a tip on how to get these on a lot easier, definitely feel free to share. That one goes in the back. Your new wheel goes on. All right, now I want to show you up close here these wheels. So you can see this inner kind of bearing race on here. It's all shot. There's a small crack here, and obviously the rubber is just gone. That was a lot of this like black material in here. So not sure if the electric dryer has this, but this heat shield here for the roller definitely needs to go back in place. And that goes there. All right, so I'm gonna put this new drum belt over the outside here. It's as simple as that. We're gonna make sure we're not twisted up here, and the rib side is down everywhere. And there we go. So you can tell the front from the back of the drum. The front of the drum has this plastic guide on it here, on the lip, and the back side has the felt gasket. And that's because the front felt gasket is actually on the front door assembly. So what we're gonna do is we can use the belt here to help us guide this in, and then the rollers need to sit in this groove here. So we're gonna slide this in. Just like that. And what we need to do is to get this drum kind of in place and onto the rollers, and the felt seal all flat in here. You don't want any of the felt seal sticking onto the inside. There we go. That actually looks really good. All right, so it can be a little tricky getting the belt in here, especially the way to wrap this, right? So what you want to do is where the belt comes off the right side of the drum, you want the back side of that belt riding on the idler here. Now, what you do is you feed it through the opening of the idler here. Clip your idler in place. This is kind of hard to do, but you clip your idler in place, and then you bend your idler. Your camera falls over. All right, and you bring your idler back, and then you want to get the belt over your drive motor. So just be careful not to pinch your finger on here, and then you can kind of spin the motor and then work that on there like that. And I believe your dryer actually turns counterclockwise. And if you turn it a few times counterclockwise, the belt will kind of sit in place and align itself on the drum and the tension roller and the drive sprocket on the motor. So we're all set here. Our next step is to get our front panel on. Okay, that's the right side. There's the left side. Bam. All right. Oh, all that struggling, it finally went on. Take our 2 screws that we had holding this front panel on, and we're gonna put those back in. All right, there's one. There's the other. Okay, get everything tight. Okay, so now we need to reconnect our door switch, and that's as simple as fitting these 2 pieces together. They are a certain shape, so they only fit together one direction, so you don't have to worry about switching wires or whatnot. I mean, it is just a switch, so it shouldn't really matter, but the connector does only fit together one way. All right, so that's all cleaned up here. Everything's back together. Our front panel's on nice and tight. It's clipped on the bottom. We're happy with that. Our last step is to bring our cover back down. And then all you simply have to do to get these locked back in, just press. They snap right on. You have your 2 Phillips screws that were on the filter section here. And that just holds that filter slide onto the lid and kind of keeps a good seal. And once again, don't drop your screws down there. All right, we're good. Put this out of the way. We're good to put our filter back in. I'm gonna move the dryer back to its original spot here. Just give it a little shove here. Make sure our hoses aren't pitched. And a moment of truth. We're going to plug this in, and we're gonna give it a shot. Oh, listen to that. No more rock tumbler noise. All right, guys, so thanks for watching this video. If you found this useful, please leave a like. I appreciate it. If you want to subscribe to the channel, definitely do so and tap that bell button if you do, so you don't miss any new content that's coming out. I'm always putting out new videos for all the different things I'm fixing around this house here. It seems like there's something new every week. So thanks for watching again, and be sure to check my other videos. Thanks.